Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session. Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. Today, I've got a new mate on here with me. I'm buzzing for this podcast, so welcome aboard, Michael from Trained by Fox.
How are we doing? How are we doing?
We're good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming down here, brother.
Well, I think after like a few bits we discussed, what did you come up and say when you first come over in the gym?
The reason is because of the logo. So well done with all the logo work, mate. It's genuinely worked.
It was basically the previous logo. And one of my good friends, Callum Rainstrick from Pro Coach, he said it last year. I don't know if I'm going around a tandem here.
Please do. This is what a podcast is for me.
Basically, so my old logo was like a white rectangle.
Yep.
With the initials TBF, and it was actually Trained by Fox personal training. And then obviously we got hit with lockdowns and all of this.
The C word.
The second one, no, the third, you can say third one, can't you? The one that started in the January. And I was shitting myself. Like, I was like, fuck, I can't PT. Like, I can't be asked to go back on a fucking local park and like on cater shit kit around with me to PT someone when realistically it was just therapy, which is great.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, what can I do? And he says, rebrand. I was like, you what? He says, not the old thing, just get rid of that electrician logo. I was like, you what? And then ever since then, I just used to look at this as like some plumbing and thing. And when I left school, that's what I did. So like,
plumbing?
Yeah. So I used to look at it and I was like, it's just a construction logo. And then I got someone on it, and they come up with it, and immediately they says, "What do you want?" I says, "Well, I want to coach superheroes. I want to coach bodybuilders. Like, I want big fucking, whether it's a woman wanting extra fucking large glutes, hamstrings, and quads to get on stage, or it's this, or I want somebody to feel like a superhero. So give me that vibe." And then when they did it, I was like, it looks like the Avengers. That's pretty sick.
That is actually sick.
Which is quite comical, because I actually believe that this logo is kind of, it must be on some logo design software. It must be a template.
Do you think?
Because one of my clients, who's actually called Trained by Patch, he inquired for coaching. And I remember going through the consultation period, and then I looked on his Instagram, and I was like, little bastard's got the same logo as me. TBP, and it's a similar thing. And then recently I actually designed like coaching sheets for other coaches, and this guy inquired, and I was like, yeah mate, yeah, all I need your logo, I need your colours, I need this, send me over, I'll get the sheets done. Sent me his logo. I was like, you're having a fucking babble.
No
lad.
way.
Another TBJ, I can't even remember what it was, but it was.
And how much you paying for these logos?
Well, I think mine come to like 150 quid.
Or templates.
Yeah, template. And it's like, I was like looking at these logos, and I was thinking, once upon a time I would have got really butthurt and thought, you can't have that, mate. But at the end of the day, like, we're not Nike.
Yeah.
And we're not these big brands, and at the end of the day, like, people buy people.
That's a good saying.
So like the face behind the logo is the thing. If you had a consultation with Patch, and this is no disrespect, Patch, you're a lovely guy, and Patch is a prick.
Yeah.
Patch isn't signing a client. Patch isn't changing someone's life. If the other guy, I think his name's Jordan Shea, yeah, trained by GS, I can't remember his brand name. Apologies again, dude. And I like looking, I think he's probably potentially been a little bit influenced by my logo. He's probably seen it and gone, that looks sick.
Yeah.
TBF's doing well, blah, blah, blah.
You've got to take it as a compliment, though, haven't you?
Of course you have.
Somebody once, with these buses, came and described an idea to me, and he was basically getting some land and putting buses on it. And first of all, I was like, why are you coming and sitting with me and talking my idea to me? But then I sat with my mum, they just calmed me down, because at first I got a bit built up, but they're like, no, they're just inspired with what you're doing. And I thought, oh, that's a much healthier attitude to take.
Of course it is, and they can replicate, but can they materialise what you're actually doing here? I
make little snippets of this podcast, and people by people is a beautiful thing, because it's just be the best person you can be.
Of course you can. Like, 2 rules in the online coaching world. don't fuck your client and don't fuck your client. Like when I started out as a PT, right, I used to think that this industry was like by far the most professional thing ever.
Yeah.
Working on a building site with sweaty men, fucking wolf whistling at women walking by is probably more professional than a gym floor in some places. I worked at I should probably disclose.
I'll beep that out.
Beep that out.
Yeah, that's beeped out now.
That's beeped out. So such and such gym active, and there's like the Christmas do. There's people in the toilet.
Wow. Yeah.
Snorting. There's like going to this is another gym for less. It's actually closed now, so I'll openly say it. Exercise for less. You go to the staff room and the door's locked. And you're like, what the fuck's going on here? And then all you suddenly hear is,
oh my God.
And he's like, where the fuck am I?
Dude.
Like, so quickly, I easily just gone and thought, shit, don't be like these pricks.
I was going to say, because is that your nature at all? It doesn't feel like it is. We've had a good chat before. And
and we've kind of touched base, and like, for me is, so like, let's say the world we live in, right? People are exposed to negative thoughts daily. Like, you can't scroll Instagram and not be in the world of comparison. So like, my missus, I absolutely love everything about her, from the way she looks to the way she is. Like, she's my biggest idol. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard it. Yeah.
But then when I started as a PT, like, me going from working in warehouses to being a plumber and being around male dominated trades all the time, to then suddenly being exposed to PTing females, to talking to females on a daily thing, is that's got to have put a thought process in her head saying, oh, what if he's attracted to someone else? What if this? What if that? Because it's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to. And I spent a lot of time trying to like say, I'm not like, I fancy you, I fancy this. And then generally, like, there's that question, isn't it? And then I was suddenly in this gym and I'm thinking, she's probably thinking this because she's a beautician and she works predominantly with female, like, client base is females. And they're probably coming in saying stories about how they slept with such and such PT, or how mate's sleeping with this PT. And I'm suddenly this PT now. So quickly, and this it wasn't like I made the decision, it just comes natural, but it was like, no, professional, like, and this industry as a whole, like, somebody very recently, Josh Bridgman, he actually called another coach out now, and he did it in a very kind of good way, because he needed to be called out, because he was approaching, what's the word?
Approaching?
He was poaching other people's clients, offering cheaper rates. He was offering female clients come around to his house and train, and he was
he was conscious that they had this coach, and he was actually going to the clients and saying, come to me and I can do that. That's cheaper. Crazy.
And then being really unprofessional
Cheeky
with females
bastard.
and all of this, and then like Josh like really outed him, but in a good way, because in this industry, I think we're going on a tandem, but
I'm enjoying it, mate. I'm in.
In this industry, right? Like, as much as like, so I spent X amount of years on the gym floor with qualifications, building my knowledge. To become an online coach, you need WhatsApp. Yeah. There are so many coaches that deliver online coaching through WhatsApp. Here's your workout plan. Here's your meal plan. Blah blah blah. Right. So there's no room for you don't need a qualification, right? The reality is, without a qualification, you can't get insured. So suddenly you've got some uninsured dickhead coaching people.
Are there quite a lot of people doing that?
No, like, again, you've got two people in the world, aren't you? Mm-hmm. And here you're going to have somebody that can do all that, unqualified, and uninsured as such, but they've literally got so much experience and they're a good person. Yeah. So I'm not going to say there are a load of people out there that shouldn't, because there is a load of people out there that should, because they deserve the trust, and but then the ones that haven't. So like, Josh did this, and one of the things I've got to put my biggest respect in Josh for is, he then said, right, now this coach has done this. Now I've got a large following, and I know he's probably going to get a lot of abuse. But please, Jack, like, if you need therapy, you need to understand and appreciate why you're being this person, why you're doing this. Please stop coaching people. And it was so what's it? And then when I was on this gym floor, it touches base, and I was like, you literally, if you type in personal training on Google, most of these courses now are government funded, or you can get a Klarna to fucking pay for your course. So you can become a PT overnight. Not realistically.
I know what you're saying.
Probably like a 6-month plan, and then people trust you.
I think that's it. I want to go down the origin story of you, to be fair.
Well, from the fucking day dot.
Before we day dot it, could we go to what's your job now, and then we'll go back to the start. How would you describe what you do and who you are?
But TBF or me?
TBF. What?
TBF is the NWO of coaching. New World Order bitches. No. It's like, so Train by Fox is basically a online coaching service that I realistically want to transform people's mindsets and bodies. So I work from and this is a limited kind of entry. So I'll have a consultation, almost like a job interview with the individual that's thinking, because I'm probably not the person for the job, right? But I know a lot of people that are reputable and I trust in this industry, that if I'm not, I will refer you to that person, because I've been down the route, and I've signed every Tom, Dick and Harry, and I've worked with them, and then I know who's my audience and I know who's my client. So you could be somebody who's just started going to the gym. You could be someone that's been going to the gym 8 years and wants to start because the problem is when I first went to the gym, right, I took a lot of wrong advice, and one of the guys, bless him, Christopher Law from Platinum Gym, he used to always tell me that I'm the hardest training individual in the gym. I moved like I was someone in the Marines,
really,
but I wasn't making no progress because there was no actual thought process behind what I was doing. I just went at it. I just right, it's life or death. Let's go. And then my eating was so anal, and I wasn't growing or wasn't doing this. And then suddenly, when I met more methods to suit me as an individual, it opened my eyes. But anyway, getting lost. So yeah, I work with practically anyone. Like this year, I've got around five guys and girls competing, about 8 people doing a photo shoot in May, and then just again, it's like body transformations. Like the reality is people go to the gym because they want to look masculine. They want a great physique. Females want bigger glutes, and they want to look like their celebrity idols, but actually in a realistic way. So I work with these people. I provide their nutrition through a platform, Google Sheets, that's delivered through an app of mine, and then their training's delivered. It's all bespoke to the individual. So I'm not selling here. I'm not trying to sell.
It's fine, man. Yeah, I want to know what you do.
So
yeah,
you'll kind of list exercises you can do, you enjoy doing, and you can't do, and any issues. I will then create a plan based around your lifestyle. You'll send me form videos, and quite quickly those movements can be removed if you're you don't look right doing it. B, your form shit, because again, the reality is if somebody's form is so terrible, right, you need to ask yourself a needs analysis on that particular movement, i.e., do they need to be doing something that's quite complicated, or can we give them something simpler that is going to reap the same reward, rather than spending the next 6 weeks demoralizing themselves trying to do it? Or if that form is kind of just a little bit of a technical glitch, i.e. they probably need to work on mobility, or we can just tweak the exercise a little bit and we can fix it, it can stay. Nutrition, again, that's practically the same. Like they'll list foods they like, dislike. I'll create a plan based around their micronutrition needs. That'll go into them, and more than likely within a week there's going to be a food that pops up like, can't fucking stand this, can you remove this, Mike? I'm not going to eat it. And then what you find is there's a lot of monks out there that will just eat for the function of it, which is fine.
Yeah.
But one day that bites them in the arse again. Supplementation, because again, that is an avenue. Like it's almost like a needs analysis on that. I stole that phrase from a guy called Luke Miller, and I'll roll with it forever. So
at least you quote people.
Yeah, supplement needs. That's also a supplement company. So let's say, for example, you do not give a fuck what I prescribe you to eat, and I can give you the most healthiest meal plan, right? Then realistically, you're going to reach all your goals from a micronutrition part to macronutrition part, and you've got all your vitamins and minerals in there, right? But then if you're you're a newbie to the gym and you still want eggs, bagels, and cereal in your diet, realistically, we may need to supplement with more to fill those micronutrition needs.
I get you.
So then supplement comes in. And then if you're an assisted athlete, like if you are already coming to me and you're taking performance enhancement drugs, right, then the reality is I'm going to need you to take a blood test so we can have a look where everything is, and we can start mitigating a better, safer use rather than what most people,
I know where you're going,
including me, like I've had previous health conditions through not necessarily abusing anabolics myself, but not having enough ownership of what I'm putting in my body and just doing what I'm told.
Yes.
That's left me in hospital. But
well, we'll talk on there too.
And so there's a lot of good information out there and bad information, but I want to my coaching service is almost like, you work with me, and I'll help you become the formula. And that's my quote. Are
you best equipped for elites, would you say now? Is that where your heart lies?
So, I want to help everyone. Yeah, that's the problem. That like somebody said to me once, right? You need to mitigate your content to the individuals you want to help. Now, I am edging more towards wanting to prep clients. I want to do performance enhancements, physique development. So mainly people that want to transform their physique. But I still want to be able to help the individuals that just want to lose weight, because I love that. Like realistically, the T in TBF could be therapy by Fox, which majority of the time it is, because if I can improve the way that you feel about yourself, guess what? Yeah, transformations,
everything else comes along with it.
It's mental. But then that comes from like therapy as in education. If I educate you on what we're actually doing, suddenly you understand it. And you might only need me for 6-12 months, and you can toodle off, and you've probably learned everything you need to. Again, it's that word of application. Can you apply what you've learned? Because I've spent a lot of time educating myself on shit that is non-applicable to what I coach. But it will be one day.
Yeah. 6 days.
Yeah.
So, sort of where you're finding your niche, you're finding yourself, but basically everything you've said there all revolves in this training element and aspect to your nature. Was that throughout? Let's go to naught then. Let's go to dot. Did you come out there with a dumbbell?
No.
Was it always the case, or has this been a slow journey for you?
I reckon, can I say this?
Hope so.
Can you say the word disability?
Yeah, I think so. You can on this podcast.
So the reality is I think I was a screw or two short of being disabled as a kid. I feel like my genetics, I wear glasses, my eyesight's absolutely dog shit. I've probably got a very slight amount. My missus would say I'm dyslexic.
Okay, dyslexic brothers.
Yeah, and I don't know if I am, because I'd never, at school, I never felt like I was. But again, growing up, my dad wasn't about, and my mum brought 4 of us up, and she brought us up on microwave meals, so it would just process, I'd be the kid. This is always funny. I was obsessed with computer games because I didn't have I had friends, I had a small circle of friends, but I was even in that small circle of friends, I feel like that in that small circle of friends, people had a lot of sympathy for me.
Okay.
Because they probably saw me get bullied within another group and then thought, right, okay, Mike was a nice lad, blah, blah. Now, as you grow older, those people do become real friends.
Are we in primary school here?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
I played video games. I watched wrestling. So I was a fat fuck. Like,
I think me and you would have been best mates at
probably
school. We
was.
would have. I would have really got on your vibe. Fat and wrestling.
So then, like, I think I resonated with wrestling because, like, in that Raw era, you've got Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Right, and he was like, I remember going into the fucking toilet with 2 cans of Pepsi Max, banging them together and pouring them all over myself and my mum flipping. I remember me and my brother like choke slamming each other through our beds. Like, one of my clients now, Dean, he's you know Dean, you went to school with Dean.
Yeah, very good friends with Dean.
And he did it to the extreme of bunk beds and stuff. And when we're talking, I'm like, no, we had a little bit more.
I think he was probably alluding to me there. Like, me and him would genuinely be doing that. Yeah, we were really into wrestling together.
He was, yeah. So that was that, and I think I just used to look at these wrestlers as kind of like, right, Stone Cold didn't give a fuck who he was. He was the bully.
Yeah.
And then I also had a lot of love for like The Rock, who kind of stood up for people's champion, blah blah blah. And then video games come, and then like Xbox Live and all of this. And
what are you playing? What games?
So at this point, it was like Halo, Gears of War, those sort of online things.
Good games.
When I was 14, I started working in so I live in Ilkeston. Like, at that age, like, Ilkeston was dominantly known as a racist town. But I think they're just dimwits that were a little bit delusional, and they, like, again, like, as
a good description.
The realistic is the older generation is the problem.
Yeah.
And they're slowly dying away.
Yeah.
And then the new generation is teaching people less of that. And then that new generation is getting less of that. Like, and
fading.
It's fading.
Yeah.
Because of that old generation is dying. I love you, Grandma, but hurry up.
Oh, mate, you're brutal. You're fucking brutal.
So then, like,
it's true. Ripley's the same area.
Exactly.
Like, it's very known for breeding EDL, small towns with small town syndromes.
Of course it is, yeah.
100%.
It is. And they're just it's just uneducated.
Yeah.
And so I worked in a bargain booze, which was run by a Punjabi family, and I literally love that family to bits. Bless Dosanjh. So like, I worked there when I was 14, and this is how my life went. So I'd skive school. She'd let me go to work from 2:30, because that's when I finished school. I'd do 2:30 till 6. I'd go home and eat whatever my mum had cooked, and then go back to work 7 till 10:30. And I used to always get £1.50 of my wages to go next door and buy a keema naan, rack it with chili and mayo and salad, eat that on the way with a bag of fucking Doritos in my bag, and I'd sit on my Xbox and play games.
Wow.
So I was an overweight kid with an overweight problem, and it just spouted and spouted. Like, but again, everyone would say, "Oh, he's an hard-working lad." I was like,
so
yeah,
it was
you can't
literally from work to kebab
to the
games.
Xbox to
mate. I'm the only reason I'm smiling so much is because I am the only replacement is Marmite sandwiches, big fat Marmite sandwiches. But then it'd be at my grandma's, because I pretty much lived there.
Yeah.
But it was just games all the time, and pretty much
an
on my
easier
own.
escape. It's
Yeah.
an escape.
And how old are you then? Sort of 30s.
I'm 32 this year.
I'm 28, but it's
So
like
you're
that
similar
90s
age,
period
yeah.
where it's all brand new PS1 to PS2,
PS2,
whatever.
Like, and then
nostalgia, man.
So I left school, went into plumbing, and again, like, anyone that kind of is leaving school, it's probably still the same. Like, site work is banter, but it's banter you need to grow a pair of balls.
Can I tell you one thing I had on a site? This was the funniest thing anyone's ever done. And I was working, I've got to say his name, for Jeff.
Yeah.
Proper farmer. Got a lot of land in Ashbourne, all this stuff, and he's just a nutter, an absolute nutter. And once the bricky came in, and he hated him. They were just arguing all the time. But he was a good brickie. But one time they'd have fallen out. So Jeff just fucking had enough of him. He'd gone behind him. He took down his own, like, trousers and pants. And then got his head. And then started trying to put his knob in his ear. So it's like doing that. And he goes, "Jeff, what the fuck are you doing?" He goes, "I'm trying to fuck some sense into you." And I died. I fucking died.
Imagine he'd be up in court, mate. Now our life has changed.
No, honestly. So that's I know exactly what you're alluding to here, because I've seen some of the best states.
I don't think I've seen anything like that. But we would so like again going through that phase is I was still really overweight and like. And again, like, you know, when you get older, you look at everything, like, everything happens for a reason. Like, it really does. And,
Completely.
like, relationships happen for a reason. Like, and even at this point through that, like, I'd not had a full relationship with a girl. So, like, at college, it was pure boy, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then, Jesus Christ, we're getting deep now.
Let's go. I'm in.
And then we kind of... I left thinking, I put everything into college because, again, to a degree, my granddad, rest in peace, he bigged up plumbing, and I was like, right, I'm gonna make him proud because I didn't have a dad. Like my dad left, so it was like I didn't. If my mum was telling my granddad something, and he felt happy about it, it made me feel happy. So I smashed through college, like I passed. And then I worked for a company called Pride Plumbing Services. Absolute pricks. No. Again, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. But again, like I wasn't the best plumber. Like I passed college, I did all this, but and somebody told me I worked for them for 3 months. But somebody told me at the beginning of them 3 months, like you're gonna lose your job in 3 months. I was like, you what? He says, yeah, what they do is they take people on, tell you you're going to be an apprentice and all this, and then in 3 months they'll get rid of you because they haven't got to put it through your books because you've only done a 3-month trial and all of this. And that's happened. That happened. But I don't know if that sat in my brain. So towards the end of that 3 months, my actual pace of me working slowed down. But like one of them, Anthony, like I think he got bullied when he was like being an apprentice. I think that's why. I think he got absolutely fucking bumfucked because he used like I remember him dragging me to his ass in Spondon, and he made me wash like so he paid me, but he made me wash his cars like outside, and like the way he spoke, and like I look and I just like I used to resent this guy. Like, I used to like I thought I need to do it. Just shut up and do it. Just shut up and do it. Right. I honestly would have took a blade to his neck some days. Really? Or like, you're like, oh yeah, drop Mike off junction 25 of the motorway. You can make his own way. And I was like, are you having a laugh, mate? But anyway, like you've got you need to learn, don't you? Like people nowadays, they're soft. They couldn't have. Again, bless people, but there would have been a lot higher suicides in that year if people was the way they are now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's. Yeah. Like, hopefully we grow stronger and we start being such butterflies.
Real happenings are coming across now, and we're going, okay, we've got to go back to masculine and feminine energy, but grab it and harness that.
Yeah. And then so that kind of sank, and then I went back to bargain booze, which again, like during that time, like I'll go back a little bit, is during the time of me working for bargain booze, like. Kids at school, you'll probably beat this out or whatever. Oh, you work for the Packers, you work for this. And I'm like, they're Punjabi, they're a lovely family. Like they mean nothing but good. And then there once, one of the nights I was working, somebody comes in with a meat cleaver, and it was on camera, and I ran in the back to go upstairs and shout for help. And Warrior Dash, gets a stool from behind the counter, and she's fighting this guy off. Wow. All right. And then one of my mates used to meet me, Daniel Dry, miss that lad. He used to meet me after school because we used to go back, fucking eat takeaway and play Xbox. And he said, "Oh, some guys just ran down your street." So I was fucking shitting bricks, thinking I'm not going down my street. But anyway, obviously the BBC come in to interview her, and in the video, guess what you could see? Me leg it. So I go to school the next day, and every kid's like, that kid running. Like, Michael's running off in the back. Like, I would have grabbed bottles.
How old do you think the guy who come in with a meat cleaver was? Just sort of.
I reckon, like, he had a big nose. He had a right conk nose.
On it, yeah, like, Concord nose.
Because, like, the weirdest thing is where I live here, 2 or 3 doors down from me was like this, like, kind of roughish family. Like, probably just a single parent bringing up kids. But there was this guy at the time that fitted his description, Parker coat, And I remember, like I used to say to my friends, we're going to find out if it's him. And I remember chipping a 50p piece out a window. It smashed. She like looks out the window. I leg it. And obviously through me working at Bong, I just used to save all my money.
Yes.
So she goes knocking on my mum's door. Mum's like, have you done this? I was like, yeah, but it's because the thing is there. Like, no, he's not. It's just a friend. I was like, so the mum says, right, go upstairs and get the money out your pot. How much is it? She says, oh, it'll be about £150. I was like, is it? It's a single glazed window. Obviously, I don't know.
Yeah,
Given this fucking, like, she's probably bought heroin for it straight after this.
Yeah,
like, and again, just because, like, looking at the situation, I think that's where it was at. So I'm giving this woman 150 quid, fucking kicking myself, thinking,
dude,
why did I get
how old are you at this point?
15.
15.
But yeah, that was, you know, like,
Did
now,
you see a lot of racism then? Because you were attached to it
all the time.
Were they coming in the shop and just
like,
saying disgusting things?
There was kids at the age of like 6. I remember once, this probably younger.
Shows the conditioning.
But this literally, like, it made me so proud of Dash, because this little kid comes in, and she goes, "Excuse me, is this the Packy shop?" And Dash says, no, you want the one up the road. And goes. And then shortly after, guess what? The mother and the thing come in.
Say the same thing.
No. Oh. So, because obviously Dash has sent the kid away.
Yeah.
But the woman actually meant this shop.
Yeah, of course.
So then they come in together. Dash says, right. She got to the till. She says, right, this is the first and last. This is the very last time you're ever welcome in this shop. Not because if you had said it, I could live with it, but your daughter has said it, and what you're bringing her up is just hate.
Yes.
So you're not welcome in my shop anymore.
Wow.
And it was just like...
And can you remember how the woman took that? Did she?
She just frowned and walked out. She probably...
I bet that's a massive seed, though, in her mind.
Of course it is. But it's like, I remember, like,
Stunning.
when I was younger, and I told Dash this, is, again, because the way we was brought up, we used to finish school and there was a corner shop. And I don't know the name, I don't know the people. And after school, we used to open the door, shout, Packy, and run. And once he caught me.
Wow.
He grabbed my tab, and he looked at me, and he says, I know your granddad.
Oh, that made me get a little bit of a...
Yeah, so
wow.
He let me go. And the next time I saw my granddad, he'd hit me with a stick and says, the way I was brought up isn't the way that you're going to be brought up. Do not speak like that.
Dude.
So that
Talk about
powerful.
Breaking a cycle. That's the way of breaking a cycle.
Yeah, of course it is.
Conditioning.
He knew the way that he was brought up, and then to that.
Yeah,
so
mate, what a stunning human your granddad is, though. Yeah. To be able to be recognised.
He hit me with a walking stick. Did you miss that point?
Well, yeah. I mean, respect to it, though.
Of course,
but I'm feeling this now as a dad. Because I've seen really good ways of which I've been brought up, but really sort of negative traits in my psyche, and 100%. We're always going to get it. Because to be able to be conscious of it and go, oh, I'm not going to do that programming though.
No.
What an attitude.
It's powerful, isn't it?
Fucking brilliant.
So going back to the plumbing, I kind of left that, went back to the shop, and then I then again met somebody on the shop floor, Simon Gregory. Started talking to him, and he owned his own plumbing company called SGM.
So you're working at this shop, aren't you?
Massively. And then, so I was in there, and he says, "Oh yeah, give me a shout," and he gives me a job. So I started this job, and at the time I was trying to manage both the shop and the job, so I sacked it off, and we worked at Trinity Square. So I feel like, again, like, not making any excuses, but I feel I got a very bad first site job with that company. So it was Trinity Square student accommodation, and SGM was actually subcontracting for a company called Skerritt's, which aren't about anymore. But so you was just a agency, and even like, sorry Matt, Simon's son Matt, we on this job we used to like toss it off, like, because you was agency to some degree, you were subcontracting, and as long as it moved at such a slow pace, it wasn't a great experience as a first job from it. And then that finished, and then we went to, where did we go next? I can't remember it was a hotel in Derby, and then this guy Ben Haggerty, which I worked with. I'm thinking Ben Haggerty again. Like, I used to look at him, and he was like shit brick ass. He used to go to the gym, and I was still a fat kid. And Matt,
how old are you here? Sorry,
19.
Oh, so you remained the fat kid for quite some time.
I was fat till like 22.
So okay, so you're 19, and what we're talking when we say fat here, where?
Well, at like 16, I was probably my heaviest. That's when the doctor says if you carry on how you are, you're not reach 30, which is quite ironic. But going back to the thing, so like Matt was massively into the gym then. So I'm suddenly surrounded by these, let's say at the time I'd call them meatheads.
Yeah.
Because they just ate like fucking carnivores.
Yeah.
And I was again the fat kid, and then I met my, like, let's say, I'd had a few relationships at this point, but then I started talking to a girl online called on the Xbox actually. And she was dating my mate, and then I met her best friend called Louise, and then it come to like we'd travel kind of like I used to travel to Birmingham, she used to come there week in week out, and so like suddenly like this first, let's say, first love as such was now distracting me of my job. And like a phone, I'd literally be at work, but I'd be distracted by my phone because she wasn't working. So then like that become a distraction. So that I tried to ultimately try and get away from that, and it was so hard because I never felt like I never really had this level of attention or love from someone. So it was kind of like shit, what am I doing? And then obviously that grew into kind of like a, let's say, almost a routine. Like, right, I do this bit of work, I do a text, do this. But then as the job needed to get finished quicker, I'd be on my phone. So then it was just a bad thing, and most likely anyone can relate to this. And then we kind of started out, like, after like a year and a half of being together, we'd argue and all of this. And I honestly look back now and think I was a fat kid. She was a very unconfident girl, and we kind of helped each other build confidence.
Yeah, okay.
And we ended, and I remember one of the things she says, like, and she probably never realised that this stuck to me. She says, you're always out of breath when you go upstairs. And they were like you can call, she didn't directly call me overweight or fat, but it stuck in like a knife. And then we obviously split up, and I remember the first time going into the gym.
Come back to the mic a little bit, mate. Just no, that's yeah. Carry on.
I remember the first time kind of going into the gym with like this like bull mindset of I'll fucking prove that bitch wrong.
Really?
Just because I was like, right, I'm gonna get fit, so straight on the treadmill, straight on this.
It's back to that everything happens for a reason sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like that did happen for a reason. That was probably like, there were 2 years in my life I will never forget. And again, like the person I'm with now, like I'll openly say that, but I would never replace what I have now for anything. So going back to that is, so I'm in the gym, Ilkeston gym, and I'm on the treadmill, and I meet this guy called Chris, and it was two Chris's. And Chris is like, oh no, you want to come and train with me? So then the next day I go for him, and he puts me through a leg workout, and I have to fucking hobble down on my arse. And the next time I go in, another Chris, and he's like, oh, maybe you need some fat burners. And now I'm, again, like, I'm sold Clen. So anyone that's listening to this knows what Clen is. It's not a fucking like over-the-counter fat burner you buy from Holland and Barrett. Like that will have your heart rate thing. So immediately I'm introduced to the world of kind of drugs.
Yes.
Right?
So it's Clen.
So Clen's just a. I'm not going to go into the thingy, but it's a very strong fat burner that you'd essentially use during the prep stage of competing.
Dangerous in the wrong hands.
Yeah, like anything. Like,
anything. Yeah, completely
like,
right.
Again, so I remember like at this point I'd left plumbing and I'd gone into delivering furniture because it was a job I could get. And I remember being on the motorway, and my fucking hands are shaking, my heart rate's high because it'll gives you handshakes, and I'm like fuck. And I'm like, I'm going to have to pull over. I'm going to crash. And all of this and all of that. And then obviously I discover what it is, so I drop it. And then you go back to it, you get massively into the gym, and I wore glasses. And then suddenly I'm like, right, I'm in Specsavers and I'm asking for contact lenses. And suddenly I feel like a new person. I've got rid of my glasses. I've kind of changed that identity. I'm into the gym. I'm spending less time on the computer. I'm feeling better about myself. I feel alive. I feel healthier. And now all I've done is I've just replaced an addiction for food and make myself feel good by eating more food and playing the Xbox to that time on the Xbox is now replaced by that time in the gym.
Yeah.
But that time in the gym is allowing me to actually eat more. So then I start speaking to more people in the gym, getting advice on this, and there's no perfect program. You just pick up weights and blah, blah, blah. And then I moved gyms, and then I'm more welcome to the world of bodybuilding around people I've seen training. And I'm like, wow, this is fucking sick. Like, look at him. I want to look like him. I want to look like him.
What was it in that moment? What did you just think, this is so good? Was it how...
It's making you, like, so... People go to the gym. So let's say you're in a normal, let's say Clifford's, right? You go to Clifford's. How many people do you see actually applying full effort during a set?
Not very often.
You don't, right? And it's because the general rule for most people, and this is what they do, the minute something gets hard, they stop. The minute something seeks a little bit of pain, they stop.
Yeah.
When do people stop running after a ball at football? When they fucking gassing for here, right? But that is them pushing themselves because they're running. Because there's not actually anything at risk, is there? If you can't run anymore, you can't run. But if you've got, I'm going to say, a 20-kilo dumbbell in each hand, and that pain starts, because you've now got an object in your hand, you feel dangered. So you stop. And then when I kind of started, like some of these people I train with that pushed me beyond that limit and taught me that you can take it to a dark place where you almost feel like you're having a panic attack.
That's cool what you're saying.
I was like, this is fucking, like, I want this.
Right.
I want, like...
Pushing you past the limits.
Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say, the best orgasm I ever had was in the gym, blah, blah, blah.
I get
and
you.
it was like that. It was a new sense of relief, like, but it was like me picturing, probably again, like, all the way down, I was probably picturing Stone Cold. I was probably picturing kind of like these people I wanted, and I used to like Chris Law, for example, who owned Platinum Gym at the time. I used to like look at him and think, what an animal. Like he's fucking almost 40 and I'm fucking 22 and I've never looked that good.
It's the extremes in life, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah. And
being
it was
able to push to a new level.
It was like
away from comfort zones.
That, and then it's like, right, everyone else is mediocre in comparison to these guys. Like the people that I've been around and spent time with, like football, I think it's a large dominated sport, and I think it's great. And then but I think the only other sport that's like bodybuilding is boxing. Like, who wants to get fucking hit in the face?
Love boxing.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I look and think, right, if you can take a set of any exercise to that extreme, it's probably as close to being punched in the face in a safe way than anything else is going to feel like.
Somebody said to me, again, about MMA, boxing and so on,
yeah,
they said why they love it so much is it's high-level problem solving at maximum consequence. And when I heard that, I thought, that's fucking beautiful.
That's fucking science.
Yeah. And it's not far from bodybuilding, though, is it? You're putting absolute maximum input in.
The issue predominantly is always going to be, even like with me coaching people, right, is I can provide the skybox. They've got no fucking TV. They're not getting anywhere, are they?
I love it. I love that.
That's a good quote.
I'm taking. Is that yours? Have you?
I think I just come up with it.
I think that's how quotes go sometimes.
Because it's
I love it.
It's almost like the TV's the focus point, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've got no fucking focus, that plan is fuck all.
Yeah. And
like for years, like in those starting years of me training, like I wouldn't say I was obsessed to the point that my other half, who I'm still with now, she'd be eating gammon while I'm eating steak. Like I was she was the breadwinner as well. Like she earned the most, but it was like, this is how much this dream or this goal means to me. And she supported that, like supplements, fucking chicken. Like she would eat the cheapest and she don't even know she did it. I didn't know she did it till I look back now and I'm like, wait, you used to eat like a fucking, like, yeah. I don't even know where I'm going with that.
No, exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
And then, like, the gym, like, people would, like, again, nobody speaks in kind of motivational ways. So, like, and this is what any adult or person will realize, right? Nobody's backing you. Nobody actually gives a fuck. They're polite and they morals say to be a nice person.
Yeah.
But no one's backing you. The people want to see people fail to some degree. Right? And that's kind of what I want to change at TBF. Like, if you simply want to learn how to fucking do a deadlift, that's a win. If you want to get on stage, that's a win, regardless if you place dead last. But again, going long term, you'll turn that last place into a first place if we change your mentality. Now, so going back to that is that I'd be in the gym ultimately thinking to myself, I'm going to win a top place at a show, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then I hired a coach for my first fucking show. I'm not going to go into names in any of this part. So I had first coach and we dieted, and
Just to intersect quick, so when you come into this gym for the first time and you're with all these meatheads because you've met them through work, and then you're in and you're the fat guy, how quickly did you turn into not being the fat guy? Because you've had these...
I quit. I didn't turn fat overnight. I was fat for like 5 years of my training.
I want to get into the meat of that because you're fat, you're with all these meatheads, you've been given drugs that were like, right, you might need fat burners. And then...
It's all advice, isn't it? So
and now suddenly you're into shows, though. You're going, do you know what? I'm inspired enough.
So like in that gym, and like the gym is probably one of the, like, it can be the biggest school playground, because at the end of the day, like, people talk. If you work in an office right now, ask yourself, who in that office is chatting shit about you, or who are you chatting shit about? Who are you looking at and going, look at them, they've got off a day, or they weren't here last week, or did you hear about right? And that's what happens on the gym floor. There's no getting away from that, right? But at the end of the day, like, if you put your armor on and just stop giving a fuck what other people think, you'll have a better time in the gym. So then, when I was in the gym, obviously I was the fat kid, so like confidence was low. Like, I used to walk around thinking, but for me, like, working in that shop, right, in retail, you have to talk to people. You have to be polite. So then, having that is, I learned that if I insinuate the conversation, they're either going to be a cunt or a lovely person. They can't be both.
Yeah.
So they've either got to be nice to your face and say, what the fuck did he just say? Or they're going to just be a cunt and walk off. And so then I used to make it my mission, right, I'm not going to feel awkward here. I'm going to make him feel awkward and have to talk to me. And then suddenly, like, I met an entire group of friends. Fucking hell, I'm making it up. Can't think of names. Adam Rhodes, Matt Edge, all of these guys. And then they'd been training longer than me. And then there was a guy, Stephen Rose, like, and he was an animal. And it kind of like, I remember seeing some of the pictures of him and thinking, fuck. And some of his lifting and some of this. And then I'd be like, right, I'm in this circle. And then suddenly, like, they had social, like, I was invited to, like, their social events, and suddenly I'm going out for drinks with these people, and I'm welcome to their thing, and I'm like, yeah, this is magic, this is amazing. And the one thing that this circle of people never did was compete. But they all looked better than me, but I wanted to compete. So it was like, wow, okay. And then, like, slowly, like, you just keep working away, not necessarily in silence, but you're working towards something.
You had a goal in mind.
A goal in mind, and it was like, I knew I was never going to be, like, as much as I used to try and fool myself, I knew I was never going to be, like, a fucking top British athlete. I was never going to be this But I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could about the sport. I wanted to learn as much about my body as I could. Whether that was at the hands of hiring the wrong person, which I have done, or if it's hiring the right person and learning as much as I can with them. So then obviously over the years, like one of my friends, Leo, he did a show, and I literally invested so much time and effort with him. Like, if he was short of supplements, here, mate, have mine. And he had a coach called Nathan Robinson, who was a fucking freak. And he come down and trained, and he showed us a different style where, again, this is where, again, from Training Point, is there's more than one way of skinning a chicken. Stop talking in fucking absolutes about there being the magic way.
I suppose that's quite a misconception in PT industry,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? It's always, they feel they need to sell you an absolute because they're saying this
it works
way
for them.
is,
But that's the problem. They're selling what's worked for them.
Yes.
So like, and there's no, like, you're almost going to from a individual is like, until you've worked with a client or a person long enough, you don't understand what they work with. So I've got a client, and I'm going to speak openly about him, like, and he has a weakness, and you'll get people that kind of recommend certain ways, but it doesn't fit that person's mental health, OCD to training. So you need to, so if I'm if I'm a UFC fighter and I actually fight karate, you can't fucking teach me jiu-jitsu because I don't give a fuck about jiu-jitsu. So stop talking to me about. And that shows how much I know about mixed martial arts, if I'm totally honest with you.
I know where you're at, yeah.
So we're going back to that, and then I hire kind of Nathan. Sorry, Nathan. Nathan gets locked up. Prick. I paid you, and you got locked up. What is that about? So then during that time, I was like, fuck, I want to compete. And I mean, no, like, if anyone now looked at my pictures of where I was, they would have said, you can't compete. And I was like, I don't give a fuck where I place. I'm going to compete. Like, and then I hired this guy called Jamie, who's worked under partnership. And again, like, this is no disrespect for Jamie, because in anything in the coaching world, you take ownership of your body. And that's something I later learned. So me and Jamie dieted, and then around the time of my show, his best friend gets out of prison. So he's not seen this person for ages, and I paid Jamie. He prepped me for 11 weeks, and I paid him £150, which is fuck all.
I was just thinking that. I was like, that's a deal.
So then, like, when you look at it, like, at the time, that £150 to me was a lot of money. Like, that Molly, sorry. So that money was a lot of money. But then obviously when his friend gets out of prison and he's not seen him in ages, like, whatever's going on in my life, he don't care about. He's took that money. He's going to look, right, so okay, you've just done 10 weeks for me. You paid me 15 quid a week.
Yeah.
I'm on my last week before the show. Stress is high, blah, blah, blah. And my body, I remember 3 weeks out, I should have got on stage. But my body just ate away at itself. And essentially what we didn't do is we didn't increase food, because from my physique is I carried a lot. I think it must be a kind of hormone imbalance or something. Like, never really touched on it, but there's like fat deposits in my lower back that don't seem to go, even at my leanest. And I've had like coaches that I put a lot of like I put their opinion at the top. So anyone that's listening to this going, oh, it's bullshit or whatever, like, I don't give a fuck what you say. Like, this guy said it, and and it's just going to be one of those parts where it's always going to kind of be there. It's just what muscle I can build around that area to make that look smaller.
I get you.
So we dieted extremely, and my body, like, I lost so much. I looked like a starved African. We'll put the picture up here.
Yeah, I'll put a picture up.
And then obviously I come on from that, and then Nathan got out of prison, and then I hired him, and then we like tripled food. We did this, we did that, and then like it got to a point where I was like, I'm just fucking taking money off my own table, and we're suffering this, we're suffering that, and I hated my jobs, I hated life, and then that was in 2014. So me and the partner, we went to Vegas, and because of like, this is when life hit me a little bit, and I was like, I'm just taking from us. So we went to Vegas for a week's holiday. I proposed. She said, yeah. And I just said, like, I don't want to lose you. Like, everything that I've put you through these years with this dream of competing, I've been a selfish cunt. I've been I don't know the correct word, but
it's a fair word.
That. And then we kind of come back from that, and she was doing really well. Like, she worked so fucking hard, and that is what I idolize the most. Like, you being around somebody that works so hard, when you do finally find something that you'll kind of enjoy and think it, you'll take the risk because you've seen somebody work so hard and made something work. So then we went to New York that Christmas, and it was probably the best like period of time we had together after that show. And then post Christmas again, like, this bodybuilder instinct comes out, and I had this other coach, Chris Wormley, and he was the first ever guy to show me like interest in blood work. So we had my bloods done, and this was after a short time, and my natural testosterone was like down here somewhere. Really? And when you look at like where I was as a youngster, and I was a really fat, overweight kid, it was probably from that, but also the fact that I was taking performance enhancing drugs at a high dose through wrong recommendations. So then we kind of went down that route, and again, we ended up in the endocrinology lab at the Circle in Nottingham, and they're sat there telling me, we're going to have to give you TRT. Because I'm telling them that I'm depressed. I've got no motivation, no sex drive, none of this, libido's wank. And I turned around to her and said, right, so you know my sperm count's low. Sorry, yeah. So then, because my tests were low, we then went for a sperm count test, because you can have a low test, but if your sperm count, if you've got no sperm, you're infertile. Yeah. So we went down that route, and it was low. So then, like, this is deep again. So then I'm sat there, and I'm like, right, it's a fucking double-edged sword now, isn't it? Because, like, the realistic fact is I'm fucking depressed, right? And I want you to give me TRT because it's going to make me feel better. It's going to hate what I want to do because I love training, right? But if I do that, essentially I'm risking the fact of never being able to have a kid again. And she's like, oh, no. I said, so what do you want? She says, I think we should do TRT. I says, you don't even know what you want to prescribe me. So she goes and speaks to her thing. She says, oh, no, we're going to send you to the fertility clinic. And I just fucking lose my shit. I'm just like, you ain't got a fucking clue, have you? Like, I could come in here and tell you that I'm on antidepressants and all this, and you would have just made the quick assumption of putting me on TRT. Because it's I've told you the problem. Yeah. These are the symptoms. This is the cure. Yeah. That is literally what your job is. But you can't do that now because I've just put you the other fucking problems in there. So you can't sugarcoat it now. So it's easier just to pass the problem.
Can't break protocol. Yeah. She knows what the protocol is. It goes bop, 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 bop. And then as soon as you add in the next layer, she goes, they do this.
Back to first one.
Completely get you. Yeah.
So then I get home and I'll be transparent here to anyone. So I get home and I just tell the missus, like, bodybuilding's my life. Like, I love you to bits, but we're in no situation right now to even think or discuss children. We're not interested. So I'm going back on TRT. Right. So then I self-medicate, which if you know the right people and you know the right sources, you can get pretty real shit. But again, as long as you're doing that through the functions of like testing, you're fine. And then comes in the idea of, right, I want to be a fucking bodybuilder. I want to be the biggest I've ever been. So I hire a very big name, a big person to coach me. And again, we put on a lot of size. At one stage I was eating 9,000 calories a day.
9,000?
9,000. And like, this particular person doesn't do macros. He just gives you a meal plan X amount. So I remember using the app, MyFitnessPal, putting in each gram of food that he wanted me to eat, and it coming up with that. And I was like, fuck. And I just couldn't eat. Where I worked at this point, I didn't even work in, it wasn't a labourer's job. It was a fucking, almost, you picked and packed a few orders, but you were sat the majority of the day. So like, my actual output was very low. So you can see what I was putting weight on. I went from like 12.5 stone to 15.5 stone in like 3.5 months, and then my heart just gave way.
Oh, is this where it comes?
Yeah, so this is 2018.
Right, and this is the first one you had.
This is the first one.
Yeah, forget we're going there.
Dun, dun.
But
Yeah.
he's put you on this.
There's copious amounts of food, and the reality, like the reality is like I was taking anabolics at that point, but like to my acknowledgement, they wasn't the most strenuous dosages. Like it was still relatively low, but there was times where it raised, like it was high. So then we went for bloods. We come off gear, we went for bloods, but I was still on really high food and really low activity levels. And I always remember this because I went to pay for my next month of coaching and also my next cycle that he would get for me. So I was buying the drugs that he prescribed from him.
Right, oh, makes sense. Yeah, I see. He's a wise guy.
Yeah. And again, like I take ownership of everything. So
you're involved in it.
The next day, like, and everything, like the heart attack, like I take ownership. Like my body, I can say no to anything. And potentially there might have been an hereditary problem, but I can't see where or why. So anyway, so then I wake up sweating. I've got pain in my neck, and I honestly just think it's an IPO. I just think, like, right, probably need food. Text him, he believes it's an IPO too. And then, like, I'm sweating, and then I try to go back to sleep. I ring, so I work for DHL at this point, and I ring them, and I'm like, not coming into work today. And guess what? It was fucking payday as well, wasn't it? So they're in their head, like, oh, you just want payday off. I was like, no. So the missus goes, you should ring the hospital just so you've got cover. They're like, yeah. They say, right, we want you to get to Queen's Med. Are you okay to drive? I was like, yes, I'm driving. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go to Iprama, pick some chicken up, tell the missus I've been. And I was like, no, I'll never live with myself. She'll fucking never fall for that. So I go, they do an ECG. You had a heart attack.
Wow.
I was like, you what? Says, yeah, we need to get you in a scan. They do an MRI. And then obviously ring my missus. She meets me at Nottingham City. They already took me into operation at this point. Done a keel. I don't know what it's called.
I know, and yeah, my sister had something similar done. But
and they did it. They did a camera. They found the clot. They took it out. It went. There were no open heart surgery or anything like that. And it happened on a fucking Friday. This is what pissed me off because you stay in the weekend.
Yeah.
And she's like really upset, and the particular coach is like, we're not straight away. It's nothing what we did. It's nothing what they did. And like I was really upset, right? And like my partner's angry, but my partner's angry because this person doesn't live too far away and could have actually turned up to the hospital and thing. But from her view, is from the message point, it just looks like you're covering your back. Like if you're caught with a bottle of vodka on your way out of Tesco that you've not paid for, you're caught red-handed. You're gonna say it's not me. It's not. I've not done. But again, I take full responsibility of my body. I wanted him to turn me into this. Blah 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 blah. And maybe my body couldn't act what was needed or whatever. So we come out like I then message my good friend Callum. Was a very, really valuable lesson to me. So at the time before I hired this particular coach, I messaged Callum about coaching, and he told me his rates, and he was £150 per month. And again, from a financial point, I can't afford that, mate. I'm really sorry. I should have asked you your rates before I told you to send the thing. And then I went with obviously this other guy who was much cheaper. Which,
there you go. Yeah, you get what you're given.
And then obviously I went back with Cal, and then he made sure I looked after, like, we measured like heart rate variability, blood pressure, and these was all new tools to me. And then I was like, wait, it makes sense.
So we took the health side very seriously.
Very serious. And previously it was obviously blood tests, but there was no health markers being managed. So I was measuring my blood glucose to make sure my pancreas was working properly. Blah blah blah. And then we got blood tests done every 3 months, and it was like, wow, this is a new level of care. The entire process of coaching, from the check-in to the check-in responses to everything, it was just like, wow, I'm now being welcomed to professionalism. So I had that first inkling, and then at this time, this is when I started, right, I'm sick of these shit jobs. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to PT. That's when I got into the world of PT. And then I started learning how unprofessional PT can be.
Really?
from the
what you were saying earlier about the parties
yeah.
and the
and then like a lot of the time it also comes down to like, so I worked for a few corporate businesses. So you've got targets, right? We need you on this many clients. For you to earn this amount, you need to be delivering this many sessions. So you've got no choice but to be the money person. You need to be converting clients to pay the fucking bills. It puts food on the table. But then you care less about the service you provide because of the demand. So if you was a car salesman, I don't give a fuck about your financial situation. I'm going to get you credit. I'm going to get you finance, even if you can't afford it. Yep, car sold. Where's my commission? So then Cal taught me all this. And I said to Cal, I'm competing this year. I was like, you'd be stupid. So I'm competing this year. He's like, you'd be stupid. You just had a heart attack. I was like, don't give a fuck. Like, I'll be able to take far less than them, but I'm getting on stage this year. So again, this was the second. So I do a warm up show, and I wasn't show ready. I wasn't my best, but it was like it got to a stage where, basically, and this is one thing I won't do with a lot of clients now, is so I chose a specific show, so I got a date rather than a time frame.
Yeah.
So I'm working towards that date. So I wasn't ready. So instead of going, right, okay, there's another show next week, there's another show the week after, I was thinking, which at this particular show I got second place in a British invite. So
wow.
It went to, but it was, I'm like, yeah. Anyway.
Sounds pretty good to me.
So then it got then to the point like where we was going again, we booked an holiday, we went on holiday the following that year, and it was like, wow, okay. And then I went then focus, right, PT, this is my focus. And then obviously that's when COVID come along, and I was building up PT, and I was still obsessed with the gym, and everything that Cal taught me was just like, I just got obsessed with learning about it. Like wow, this is going to help people so much more. I'm going to be able to help so many more people with just having this level of input from this guy.
Yeah.
And then seeing how he does it, and then lockdown happened, and me and Cal competed in 2019. So I was training with this guy every day, and I was seeing how much effort he was putting in, and seeing how much effort he was putting into his coaching, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, the guy doesn't stop. Wow. So again, being around, I go home to my other half who doesn't fucking stop. I go to the gym with this guy that doesn't fucking stop. And so like, you just become what you're surrounded by.
Yeah, that's a good say.
And then lockdown happened, and then suddenly I'm obsessed, like learn, work. And then gym's open, and I'm suddenly right, I'm going to provide the absolute fucking best. I'm going to become every single client's best friend. Even if we don't talk, they know I give a fuck about them.
Yeah.
And then like within business, you kind of, I'll have people say to me, "Oh, you're smashing it, you're killing it." Well, and I think to some degree, people are like, you only post your highlight reel.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to post on fucking Instagram, I've lost 5 clients today.
No.
I've just had some dickhead not pay his thing, and because he's a prick.
Yeah. And that all happens.
That's not me being unprofessional.
No,
Sorry if you've ever done that.
Yeah. but it's true.
But
yeah,
it's true.
You're only going to show the best side of yourself and your business.
Because people ultimately see, like, and I say this to all my clients that ever leave, like, coaching, online coaching is probably one of the biggest luxuries anybody will have. So you can go into JD and buy a brand new pair of trainers, right? Probably not actually ever wear those trainers more than twice. I'm talking about myself here. But you do not give a fuck what it's cost you because you wanted that item.
Yeah.
And now you've got that item. It's a product, right? But then when you're paying for a service, that service has a cost. So it's the biggest luxury. It's like Sky. You still have a solid product and you can flick through the TV. But from coaching, realistically, it's a very, very selfish purchase. So if your other half isn't supportive of it, that's problem number one.
Yeah.
If your family aren't supportive or your friends aren't supportive, they're problems. If like realistically, you need to evaluate that, right, this is the cost of coaching. This is pretty much the lowest cost that Michael can generate my food bill to be. This is the gym membership. This is potentially the supplementation I need. Can I afford it? Yes. Not, oh, she looks fucking amazing. Look what Michael's done with her.
Yeah.
I'm going to hire him. I'm going to get that. And then forget that there's actually work.
People think
needed.
of the underground layers of what it takes to do.
They don't realise that, like, I've got clients that I've coached for 3 or 4 years, and like having coached them for that long, I know them inside out. And that some people you pick that up within 6 to 12 weeks.
I see, it's funny. There's some partners that aren't supportive. They don't know what they're buying into as a partner, because you know, not only is your partner transforming themselves, but their knowledge base and who they're buying into, it could really emanate outwards, couldn't it? It could build into the family and make it into a much better environment.
There's two clients, I'll say 3 actually. No, 2, because Patch is already a PT. So there's 2 clients that when they come to me, right, they never had ambitions to ever compete. They're now competing this year.
Yeah, nice.
Both natural. One who's actually going to be competing against people that could be assisted. And she's going to do fucking well.
I didn't know they could do that. So you can have mixed... So untested, tested, is it?
Yeah, so you can't... You as an assisted athlete can't go and compete in a natural show.
Yeah.
But you as a natural athlete could go and compete in an assisted show.
That's really interesting. Okay.
And so there's so many guys, like, again, like genetics play a large part, but you could be a natural athlete and win at a fucking assisted show.
Crazy.
It means nothing. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's going to play, like, you're probably not going to go all the way.
Yeah.
But you're going to get to a good level if genetically and work ethic wise,
power,
you've got it. So then these other two particular clients, they now want to be coaches.
Ah, nice.
Because they fucking love how
seen the journey.
They've seen what they've achieved and how it's transformed them, that they want to do it. And I'm fucking for it. Like, I want to coach more coaches because
I think were inspired, weren't you?
That's it. So
Callum
brought me down, and I'm like, right, if you're looked after, right, I can't really think of a thing, but if you're looked after from a company, you go back to the company.
Mm-hmm.
But this, you can't, like, you can't realistically, like, you never leave this company. But if you're then like, right, okay, I've got an interest for training, and you hate your fucking job, which most of these people do, right? Because it's just the 9-5, the book of life.
Yeah.
The book, You need to get married, get a mortgage, blah, 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 right? So then if you're doing that, and then suddenly you get welcome to this world of helping people, and you're actually a caring person, there's no better feeling than seeing somebody go from, like, for example, this is a very small thing for me. You know how many people, when I first sign a client, send a voice note? None of them really do. After they receive multiple voice notes from me, they go, I can't believe I'm doing this because I hate the sound of my own voice.
And
that's like a confidence.
Simple thing. And
they don't realise it, and I'm like, right, perfect.
Ah.
Right, I want you to come to the team session on Saturday. So which basically it's where I choose not to train on a Saturday. But I'll have, like, right, welcome to get to the gym at this time. I'll be there. And if you need help with a particular exercise, I'll come over. We can have a catch up. If you want me to look over your physique or show you through posing.
Like, this is awesome. I love that you do that.
So then it's like,
cool.
Suddenly, at first they never will. And then you drag them to it. And you're like, oh, you did that voice note. Oh, yeah, but that. I says, imagine how you'd feel just coming to that. Like, you could come for 10 minutes. Just make out you've got plans. Just come hello, say hello, bam. And then most of these guys, like Dean, he's literally, like, to some degree, he's like a right-hand man for me because he gets on with so many people. Another client, Benji, he gets on with so many. Magda, my other client, so we were having, like, a bit of a posing day where I'm going to teach male clients how to pose. Because the reality is when you're in this coaching thing, right, all I need as a coach is 3 shots, realistically, front, side and rear, relaxed. there isn't a single person that can say they don't feel like a fucking potato in those shots. Like, just look at yourself in the mirror when you've got out of the shower, gorming at the fucking camera, right? So then if there's
the
a
potato
way,
shot.
if there's a way of teaching them a few shots posing wise that makes, like, MMA fighters do a fucking double bicep,
Of course.
boxers do a double bicep, football players score a fucking goal and do a most muscular. It's all orientated towards. It's all orientated towards fucking isn't it? Bodybuilding in some respect.
I've never thought that before, but
every sport does. Like, what does
the pose, isn't it? Yeah, strike your pose.
Usain Bolt?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
That's not a fucking running pose, is it?
No, mate, that's interesting.
But that's
never
what, like,
thought of
Arnie
it.
and all these
Way of
superheroes kind of
expressing
do.
your muscles.
Yeah, it's masculine.
The best way of exposing them.
Exactly. So then, if you've
Fucking
got a
genius.
shot of you doing a double bicep,
Yeah.
and you're going to feel like a potato at week 1. But if you then take that shot to week 20, and suddenly you've got your midsection so much thinner, and you can start seeing detail in it, or your biceps are leaner, and you can start seeing shape, you're going to go, wow. But you're not going to have that same level of wow when you're just looking like fucking a thumb.
I think for our next podcast together, I want you to go into the like details and nuances of even striking poses, because it's such an alien world to me.
It is.
I know so little of, but I love your.
But that's the heart form of bodybuilding. Like, like, I remember when I was coached by that Chris Wormley guy. Like, his weird. It was so. And this is what has made me I have to have a one-to-one commitment with clients, i.e. the team sessions, i.e. thingy, because Chris Wormley used to actually make you, like, to do a check-in, you had to used to travel to his gym, and he had this fucking shitty cold toilets with no mirror, so you couldn't see what you looked like, and he would just be there with his camera taking his shot, and then he'd send you the shots after, and you'd look as pale as fuck, and I used to always text him, how can I make that pose look better? And he used to be so blunt, he said, you just need more muscle, mate. You look like Mo Farah. Like, what? You just need more muscle. The posing will look better when you've got more tissue, which is so true.
Yeah.
Right? He's not lying. But then when you start, like, I went to a few posing seminars, I worked, like, thinking when you can actually tweak. So, for example, I'm wide-hipped. So if I stand in a shot like that, my hips are here, my lats are here. If I now twist my hips forward, I'm at angle, my midsection now looks narrower. So it's just tweaking foot stance to make that shot look more pleasant.
I love the science behind it. I really do.
And that's the art form of it. Like, there's literally, like, you dancers have a choreographer.
Of course.
And they go through a routine. And it looks beautiful, it looks great because of that. They don't just freestyle the fuck out of it, do they?
No.
So then when you go to a bodybuilding show, like,
the intricacies.
If you've spent as much time on your posing practice as you have your training and nutrition, you're gonna stand out. Regardless of, like, if you're still carrying a bit of chub, they're gonna go, posing's absolutely immaculate, we just need leaner, you just need more of this, you need more quad, you need more hand, blah blah blah. So then again, if I can do that, like, so yeah, going back to that, so Magda is gonna be kind of putting the girls through the routine.
Yeah.
Right, I'm very anal in how I coach the posing, so I'll be doing most of it, but there'll be, like, my client Dean and my client Benji, they're very interested in it, and I'll say, right, at the end I want you to put this person through, I want you to put that person through, so they can learn more about it, because there are people out there, again, because we live in that world that nobody wants to do the jobs that our ancestors and grandparents do.
No.
The odd graft jobs.
It's a new
they want
world,
something
isn't it?
simpler, yeah.
It really is.
So there's posing coaches, and there's some fucking really good posing coaches. Like, I've worked with one called Ryan Bramley. I've seen there's a guy called I can't even think of his fucking name. It's been a long day.
I'll put it in. Yeah.
So these kind of guys do it, and it's like it's a service, so it's a cost. But it's not fucking taking a hammer and chisel to some brickwork or.
Do you know such an eclectic mix of all these different trainers in the field? So
like, if somebody comes to me to compete, right, I could go, right, you're a men's physique athlete, you're going to go posing with this, Right, you're a female. I want you to go to see her for posing. Right.
You're
Clothing.
building a community, aren't you?
You build like, and this is what's so great. Like the reality is, and I'll talk about another coaching brand now called the Physique Collective, and they've built something very good, and they're a very good team. So like you've got Joe Jeffrey, and he's the most fucking knowledgeable, one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to performance enhancement and drugs. If anybody is watching this and wants to learn more, follow him on Instagram. I think it's Joe_Physique Collective. No. And then under there you've got Matt. He's one of the owners, and you've got another guy called fucking names of shit today, Christian, and they're all great, but like within them they all serve a sole purpose. And then you've got like the coaching brand called Pro Coach, who my friend Callum runs, and then he's got Ross. So there's him and Ross, who are predominantly the prep coaches.
Right, okay.
Then underneath you've got Alex and Ryan, who are more like photo shoot, physique development coaches. Everyone's got their role.
Yeah.
But you've got too many people out there that do this coaching world and want to help everyone, like me. But I know what I want now.
That's awesome.
But I've literally catered for everyone for so long. So like going back to it, if like anyone's interested in coaching at any level, let's get on a consultation call. Let's break down like a business deal and see if I'm the right business for you. If not, I can refer you to the right person.
Do you think the reason you're so good at what you do now is because of your journey and working with so many different people, and having really shit and really good?
I think it also comes down to like, so a lot of people come like, I know coaches, and I look and I think their issue, like I point out their issues. So there's coaches on the gym floor that won't even fucking acknowledge people because they're bodybuilders and they're there to work. They're going to war with the iron, and they don't talk to people. So then they're not a pleasant person. So people make an assumption of what you're like by experiences of what they've seen.
It's a great say, yeah.
So,
like, so true.
If you're like, I said this earlier, I make it my mission to make people feel awkward. If I say hello to them, they can either be a cunt or a nice person.
Yeah.
If they don't politely speak back to me, I don't care.
It doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't. I've been nice.
Yeah.
And that hello, how are you? How's your day been? Might turn into, how's your training? How's this? How's that? How can I help you? How can I give you some advice? 2-3 months later, they follow your journey and they go, Mike, a question. Just setting up my nutrition plan. What do you think to this? And you give some fucking free advice.
Yeah.
And then 5 months later, they've not progressed one little bit, and now they're hiring you because they trust you.
Yeah.
Based on the fact you had that first conversation.
Yeah.
But if you're just literally a coach that posts about, I'm offering spacers, please come and hire me, off the fact that you've posted some mediocre shit about protein that they can fucking find on Google, the chances are they're not going to hire you. What they're going to do is probably hope that somebody rolls into their DM and makes conversation, or they bump into someone, or somebody refers someone to someone. Like I have inquiries, and this one was about a particular coach I don't like. And they inquired about my coaching, and they're being coached by this person, and I will never say a negative word about somebody to somebody in the regards of this. So he says, "Oh, I'm with such and such." I was like, "Right." He says, "But such and such is with you, and I really like your coaching. I think it looks really good." And I said, "If you've got an issue with your coach, before you go any further with looking into other coaches, find out what the deal is, i.e. speak to him. Because he can't get better if he doesn't know what he's doing wrong.
That's cool.
And you can't actually, in 3 months, you won't have that thought in your head asking yourself, what if I just told him?"
Yeah, that's a good say. I like it.
Because the reality is a lot of people in this industry are going to be faking it.
Yeah.
I.e., they're going to be trialing out things with clients. Does this technique work? Does this? And then suddenly they learn it. So they faked it, and now they're making it. And that particular person might be at that point where he's fucking faking shit, or he's replicating shit. And that person that leaves him in 3 months might look and go, fucking hell, look what he did with him. Look what he achieved with him. And I'm talking from experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll say this, Tom Oatwell. He was coached by me, and I love the boy to bits. And then he kind of left, but he wasn't honest. He left because his friend, I think he offered him a free ride, and they come back to me. And then basically wanted to compete, and then he, a local guy called Jack Davis, who is a very good coach. He won his pro card as a men's physique athlete, and Tom wanted to compete as men's physique. So the reality is, this guy's a men's physique pro, and he's a coach.
Yeah.
He wants to be a men's physique athlete. So he left me, and he went with Jack. No hard feelings, like people trade service. And then he left Jack and went back to this friend that gave him a free ride. And this is what pissed me off, Tom. This guy was using the transformation pictures that me and Tom achieved
that's cheeky.
at the time. And I didn't ever reach out of him because it don't bother me, because I'm just like, you ain't going to achieve those results with people. Because there isn't another Tom Oatwell. And you didn't coach Tom Oatwell through that transformation.
Yeah.
So how the fuck are you using them pictures, mate?
Yeah, yeah.
Have a word.
That's an odd one.
Yeah.
I guess.
And it's just again, it's your own confidence in your thing.
You must find it a lot in the industry.
Massively,
you must have a lot of.
There's gonna be that. They'll just
beefs.
But it's. So then going back to that particular guy who inquired, he then asked obviously about my rate, which I'm very I pride myself on my price. I won't say it on here because people will be making mathematical
if
equations.
they're interested, they can get in touch. They can find out.
So then he asked, and he says, "Oh, it's a little bit too much." And I was like, "That's fine, mate. If it's not in your financial need, I'm sorry. Like, there's other coaches." And then the day or so later, and if he's listening, he'll know who I'm talking about. He inquired. He messaged me then saying, "What do I think to this particular other coach?" And I was firmly honest, and I was like, if anyone's making an assumption of if it's about you, then ask me. But he asked about this particular coach, and I says, what I honestly think is you believe in one coach at the same level to go and join another coach of the same level. They've both got the same level of probably transformations. They've got the same level of experience in this field. I've got far more experience. I've been doing this longer. That's not a big-headed thing. It's like I've worked with more people. Yeah. Right. And you've already seen the difference in service. Hence why you're having this fucking conversation with me. Yeah. So why go from Sky to Sky? Yeah. You're not going to do it unless it's a cheaper bill. Yeah. And he never kind of got back. But again, I then sat there asking myself, right, I was invested in potentially taking on this client, and then I'm like, I don't want this guy. Doesn't know what he wants. He don't know what he wants, and what if in 2 months he's having this conversation behind my back with another coach? Yeah, yeah.
Is this to the point where you realised what you started wanting then, and you got your worth and thought, do you know what? It's as much as me wanting to get clients as much as I want the right clients. Exactly that. And the minute you appreciate your worth as a coach, those conversations come easier. Those kind of, let's say, closing a sale, because it's business, come easier. And those you actually saying no comes easier. That's powerful. And that ultimately comes down to I think I have 17 females on the team now, right? And every single one of those, almost, I say everyone, I've not had a conversation about this subject long enough, but a large amount of those girls have had similar experiences of having previous coaches being inappropriate. I get you. And this again, it just stems down from unprofessionalism. So then I like these, and they've told me the names of these coaches, and I hate having it, because it just becomes what is wrong with people? Why is it so abundant in that masculinity? Industry? Yeah. It's narcissistic. Yeah. So there's a big emphasis on who you are, how you look, and all that are surrounding it. So a lot of the time in that toxic masculine world, it comes from what girls you can attract.
to
find
some
your
degree,
worth.
and it depends on the individual.
It's nuanced, isn't it? Yeah.
And then you've got like, so then the problem here is females. Like, so say this, right? Let's build a scenario up.
I'm in.
say I was an absolute fucking Jack the Lad twat when I started,
Geezer.
right? At the very start of my PT world, I had a one night stand. Let's say that, right? And that girl goes and tells 5 friends, and those 5 friends go and tell 5 of their boyfriends, and those 5 boyfriends go and have a fucking laugh and crack at a lad's night out and tell 10 of their friends, right? Michael from Trained by Fox slept with a client 10 years ago, let's say. That fucking will haunt you forever.
Yeah.
That's not happened. That's not
Yeah,
happened.
no, yes.
But so like, if you're a PT now, don't fucking let that. Don't
be
even open that can
professional.
of worms.
What did you say? What was your 2 rules? Don't
fuck your client and don't fuck your client.
Yeah,
like,
I know exactly what that
yeah.
means, but I love it so much.
It's so simple.
It's really helpful knowledge.
Like, just in that goes with everyone. Like, you could be a builder going to quote a fucking price.
Yeah.
And essentially, there might be some desperate fucking female needing some attention at the end of that quote.
Yeah, I get you.
Don't fuck them over on the quote, and certainly don't get in bed with them.
Yeah, oh mate, it's ace.
But it realistically, like, I love the industry, and I think it's so powerful, and I think it can only get better. But the problem is like, you can go onto the internet and go on. What's the website called? You know, where you kind of check reviews of a building
Gumtree
firm.
or something.
No. So like, say I want to search for a reputable builder.
Yeah.
Right.
It's on Google, isn't it? Like, I can't remember what it's called.
Find a trade or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
So there's nothing realistically. There's Google fucking reviews. But
Like,
if I message, the only people I'm going to message about a review is clients. Because that's the only people that's going to have me. And I know, right, every single one of my clients would say good things. But a review is like a CV. They can't say negative to some degree, right? Now, I'm not going to ask someone that left with a fucking sour taste in the throat. Right? And there's nowhere for those to just drop
say their bit.
Negative comments.
Yeah.
But in every other industry,
there is that. Yeah.
There is that. Because online coaches don't have a location on Google Maps. There isn't one. So like say for example, my missus, she has like, I think they have 4.5-star rating because of one negative comment.
Really?
And if you read, I can't even remember what it says. It says something like, I turned up on Monday and the salon was shut. I was very disappointed. It fucking says on the opening times that they shut on a Monday. But this woman chose to put a negative review.
Some people are sour, aren't they?
Yeah, but that 0 review now affects that 5-star review.
Literally.
And that. But there is nothing like that in the online coaching world.
Could also just be something daft like a competitor.
Yeah.
And making a bit of a
negative comment.
Yeah, unnecessary remark.
I went to McDonald's and the toilet was sewer thing. Well, you go to McDonald's for the food, not the toilet.
Yeah, there you go.
Bam.
Mate, I'd like to ask you this then. So you're saying the industry could get better and is going to only get better. For a young, thirsty person going into that industry now, what are some of the best do's and don'ts of going into it?
Don't be afraid to admit you can't help somebody.
That's good.
So like, don't try and be a master of all trades. So like, for example, I remember, and I know this because I'm talking through experience, when I was at The Active, if we say
yeah.
I remember, and I loved coaching this person, but I was honest with him. So he liked Olympic lifting. Fucking hell. Me, Olympic lift. Never done it. So, but I needed clients. Like, I needed, like, Virgin Active needed me to need clients. So I was like, yeah, all right then, mate. Yeah, perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a snatch and grip. Oh, what's that? Showing him, and he says, that's not a snatch and grip. I was like, you just fucking got me, mate. He says, no. He says, do you not know what a snatch and grip is? I was like, let me just refresh my memory, mate. So I'm on Googling it to find out, because I just assumed what it was, because I don't know. And he was like, and he goes, let me ask you a serious question. do you coach Olympic lifters? I was like, no. It was like, okay, so at least we know that now. I said, so go home, do your research, what you do need. He says, I'm going to be in much safer hands with you than I am on my own. But he knew that I wasn't thinking.
That's
but
cool.
I was trying to lie to him.
Yeah. So just be honest.
Yeah. And then there was a particular person, she'd just had a kid, and all this, and I was like, I just said to her, I said, never worked with anyone that's just had a kid. So I'm going to be very honest. And guess what? 3 of her friends that hadn't had kids got referred to me after that.
Wow. Yeah.
So like, just be honest.
That's awesome advice.
So that would be number 1. Don't ever feel that you know everything or your way is the only way. So I'm going to talk about a particular client here. Dean, your friend. So he tore his bicep last year in April, and at the time he's only just started coaching, and his legs was a bag of shit. But again, here he couldn't train his upper body. So because he had the mentality he still wants to train, we trained legs 3 times a week. Now that brought his legs up, but that obviously was a combination of the fact that he couldn't train his upper body, so his recovery ability was higher. So like, I don't really cater like full lower body sessions a week for any client, unless they're potentially female, because again, in that criteria it fits. That goes from any training style. Like, one of the big ones in this game is progressive overload, and JP, trained by JP, created I think it passed down from someone else, where you do 2 sets, top set and a back off. Anyone listening to this probably understands it. And people get married to that. But then there's other styles of training. Did I say don't stop learning? There's so many.
This doesn't have to even be for training, does it?
No.
There's a lot of people that think, I know life now.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they get hit hard by, you weren't ready for the next lesson. You weren't ready for it to happen. 100%. So,
like, whenever I speak to my partner and I say, oh, I'm doing another course, she's like, what fucking on now? What are you doing a course on now? And I'll say it, and she'll be like, you've already learnt that. I was like, but you don't, like, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, there's always levels and layers and elements you can take away.
I remember first learning, like, when I first started PT and I started working with female clients. And I was like, what the fuck is a menstrual cycle?
Yeah, really, yeah.
Is that your period? Like, wow, okay. And then obviously I invested a lot of time and money into learning that. How
the body actually reacts to certain hormones and certain times of the year and so on.
That.
Wow.
And then it was like, on a PT course you don't learn that. And then when you start looking at it, as a PT course is essentially a health and safety course. That you can deliver exercise in the safest way.
So it's like the very base level.
You go into a first aid course, you basically going to put someone in the recovery position.
Yeah.
The PT course is almost like you can train someone without the need of putting them in a recovery position because you fuck them up.
And they make you do staying alive, don't they?
Yeah. But I remember
you're not actually going to do the procedure that's after that.
No.
Makes so much sense, yeah.
So, yeah, don't stop learning. Don't feel like you know everything. Well, that goes tie and to it. And be a good fucking person.
Mate, I think we're fucking we're 2 hours in.
We
fucking nailed it. You smashed this, mate.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, I really, really appreciate you coming. I know you're a busy wanted man. Have you got 1,000,001 messages? Mate, can you tell this camera here, for people that have stayed in and really what you're about, where they can find all your stuff and everything you're doing?
What's my Instagram?
You forgot your Instagram? It's got to be trained_by_Fox.
Mark, there we go.
What is it?
So, thank you for anyone that's listened. Hope you've enjoyed me ramble on. Thanks, Mike, for having us. You'll find me at Michael_trainedbyfox. You could also check out my YouTube, Trained by Fox, and website, trainedbyfox.com. None of it's really any interesting, but you have to plug. If you have any questions around like the coaches I've previously mentioned, i.e. Physique Collective, Pro Coach, just drop me a message. I'll send you a link to their Instas. Thank you very much.
I love it, mate. I'll do my bit. Guys, you've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. I'm going to leave you on this. I always do. Just be nice to one another, you beautiful set of buggers. Have a good day.